Hello and welcome to Super Over Decoded, powered by IDFC FIRST Bank. Well, it's the fifth and the final T20I of the series. Obviously, series been lost, but what you would want to see, as I mentioned in the last video, is the improvement part of it, because we've mentioned this is a little bit of inexperience in these conditions, especially. So if they've learned and how they've are they going to improve? Are they on the right path? Have they learned from the mistakes right through the series that they've made? So that's the whole idea, and how I see it is, and especially in that dressing room, which is important. The shoulders would be drooping. Obviously, the confidence is low. There's no two ways about it. But the challenge for the team management and the coaches is how to still convert this into a positive. Because, like I said, last game, series gone. So for me, this is how I'll put it. Because every game is an opportunity to get used to playing in these conditions, and anyone who scores or does well or picks a wicket will carry that confidence forward next time when India faces conditions like these. So I think these are all very, very important games. Every game is an opportunity to put something in your memory bank when you need it next time. So from that perspective, that's how I'll put it, and that's how I see it as well. Another big opportunity. Now, talking about Southampton, the Rose Bowl, utility stadium, whatever you want to call it. It's not the biggest ground. I think the boundaries are around 67, 68 meters. And it's one of the better batting surfaces. On an average, the average score here is around 195. So it's been a high scoring venue as well. So good batting surface. And India won the toss. Shreyas, for the 7th time, including 2 in Ireland, has won all the tosses, and they elected to bowl first. Now, conditions in England doesn't change a lot over the period of 40 overs. Unlike, let's say, in India, where second batting is because of the dew factor, the floodlight factor, and all of that. Second half is preferred, as in chasing is preferred. But in England, because the conditions and the daylight is there till 9:30, you really don't need the floodlights that much. And this happens to be an afternoon game anyways. So I guess the conditions doesn't change. So whether you bat first or you bowl first, it boils down to what you as a team want to do. What are your strengths? Anyways, Shreyas won the toss and elected to bowl first in this instance. As far as the team's concerned, couple of changes for India. Sanju Samson came back in for Vaibhav. And secondly, Suryan Shedge comes in for Washington Sundar. So 2 changes. Now, how I see this is, even when Sanju was, when Vaibhav came in place of Sanju, people said, "Oh, is Sanju Samson dropped and all?" How I see it is, this is a long-term project. It's a 2-year-long project. This cycle, which has just begun, and I think what the team management is trying to do is create a group of 25-30 players who will be given enough game time over the next 2 years. And then maybe a month before or 2 months before, maybe a couple of series before the World Cup, you decide on your 15, right? So I think that's what's happening, and that's one of the reasons why I thought Sanju was brought back in place of Vaibhav, because Sanju is not going to Zimbabwe, but Sanju is going to the Asian Games. Vaibhav is going to Zimbabwe, so he's going to get games there. So I think they're trying to make sure everyone gets enough game time and experience and all of that stuff. So. And then Suryan Shedge, I think, and I've spoken about him in the previous video as well. I really like him. There's something about Suryansh. He still needs to develop a lot, both with batting and bowling, especially with bowling. But I think he can end up being a genuine all-rounder, a genuine batter and a genuine bowler, like we say about Hardik Pandya. So I think he has it in him to be that player, that kind of player rather. As far as England was concerned, one change for England as well. Liam Dawson, the left-arm spinner, comes in place of Rehan, the leg spinner. Rehan did not get to bowl or bat in the last game. So Liam Dawson is back, and that's the playing 11 for both the team. And yeah, hopefully we were just hoping that India bounces back. Now, before we move ahead in this match, let's talk about staying connected. As India takes on England in this series, travels across iconic venues, carrying the excitement with it. And it's not just fans in the stadiums who are part of it. Indian fans everywhere stay connected to every moment. And your banking should be just as seamless. With the IDFC FIRST Bank, you can open your NRI savings account from anywhere in the world. Manage your banking effortlessly and activate UPI on both your international and Indian numbers, because distance should never limit access. IDFC FIRST Bank makes global banking simple wherever you are. Yeah, India decided to bowl first and started off well, got the wicket of Phil Salt early, so that was an early breakthrough. But then, post that wicket, it was a BNB show, to be fair. Yeah, not bread and breakfast, as you all know about England and bread and breakfast, but this was a Butler and Brooke show. So Harry Brooke, Josh Butler, it was 233 run partnership, right? 233. That's the highest for England in T20I. So you can imagine it was fantastic. They batted really well, and why I said it was fantastic, because both these guys, Josh Butler and Harry Brooke, are very different batters. For example, Josh. I'll come to Josh Butler and why it was important, but why they're different and they complement each other really well is Josh Butler is very back foot kind of a player, and he's very leg side oriented. If you look at his wagon wheel, good 65-70% of the runs he scores or scored in this game also was on the leg side. While Harry Brooke, he's the other way around, 65-70 on the offside. He's very good through covers, mid-off, extra cover. In fact, a lot of the players in T20 cricket, they move to the offside to hit on the leg. But with Harry Brooke, it's the other way around. He moves to the leg side so that he can hit through the offside. So he's very, very good at mid-off, extra cover region. And this was no different. So obviously, Josh Butler went on to get 131 of 64. And it was very, very important for Josh Butler because I'm sure you guys would remember that he had a really, really terrible World Cup. There were rumors that he might be dropped after the World Cup, but they kept faith in him, and he's done really well to come back the way he did. After the first couple of overs, it was quite evident that it was more like Josh Butler of the old, free-flowing, and it was obviously the surface also helped. It was a good batting surface, but then the way he batted just reminded everyone of the vintage Josh Butler. So 131 of 64, that was brilliant. And Harry Brooke, listen, we obviously haven't seen much of Harry Brooke, but then he's a very, very good player and very, very different kind of a player. Like I said, he's, most of the T20 batters you'll see prefer the onside, the slog sweeps and all of that, pulls. But he's so good through the offside, and that is phenomenal. Off the front foot with a vertical bat. He does play the horizontal bat shot, but it's not that he's dependent on that. He's very good with the vertical bat. Now that's the batting bit. Now bowling bit, where maybe I thought India could have done better, was the planning and execution bit. Maybe the planning was right, but definitely the execution did not say much about the planning, because when someone like Harry Brooke was good through the offside, what you try and do, you try and tuck him up on the leg side, right? You don't give him room to play on the offside. While same thing with Josh Butler, he prefers straighter delivery so he can play on the onside. So you don't bowl him there, you bowl outside off stump. But I think where the Indian bowlers got wrong was they bowled outside off to Harry Brooke and then bowled in the stumps or straighter lines to Josh Butler. So bowled to their strengths. And that's where I think, and they went on to score 257, the 233 run partnership, then 257. And tactically, again, the other thing which I thought India weren't at their best right through this series. Another thing was Shivam Dube. In this game, came in to bowl his first over, and that was the 19th over, right? Because, if 257 chasing down is, it has been done before in international cricket, but it's kind of unheard of. But if you could have restricted to 220, 230, I think was very, very chaseable, and India with the batting unit and the kind of surface was, I thought, very, very doable. So yeah, those things, the bowling plans and execution, maybe a little bit of planning as well. Yeah, 257 for 3 is what England got. Yeah, chasing 250, 259 was never going to be easy. 258 rather was never going to be easy, no matter how flat the surface is. And England definitely got a really good bowling unit who's done really well, whether it's Rashid, whether it's Jofra Archer or Sam Curran, Josh Tongue. So it was never going to be easy. And then lost a couple of early wickets. Abhishek got out again to a short ball. Was a nothing shot, to be fair. I guess the plan was to take a single and get Sanju on strike because Sanju was hitting well. He was hitting quite a few fours, but then it was, nothing short. Just trying to dab one to third man for a single, getting Sanju on strike. So that was a little disappointing the way he got out. Then Sanju again. He looked good, but then didn't carry on to get a big innings. So India lost a couple of early wickets, but then the power play was all right, and that partnership between Ishan Kishan and Shreyas was looking good. Kept India in that hunt, and that partnership was nice. Ishan went on to get a half century, 56, and that was important. Like earlier I mentioned, just gets into the memory bank. Good performances in these conditions. So next time when the conditions would be similar, you can just go back and think about an innings like this. Tilak again, Tilak got a 50, and that is very important. I tell you the reason, according to me, why Tilak's knock was important, because in the past, and ever since Tilak got into the T20 side, his role was very different. He was batting at 3 and 4. But then in this setup, he's batting at 5. Personally, I still think he's not really a number 5, number 6 batter. But then in this new position, this 50 that he got 53 of 25, which is, quick 212 or something, the strike rate was. That would help him kind of settle down in this position if this is what his position is going to be going forward at number 5. So we'll give him a lot of confidence this. But then, India got 201. Like I said before, had India kind of bowled better and fielded better, dropped quite a few catches, right? At least 3-4 catches, and had restricted England to 220, 225. I think India was in the game for a very long time for that total, but 258 was always going to be massive, and that's where India struggled. And also they had someone like the best part about England right through this series is obviously you've got Jofra Archer, Josh Tongue and Sam Curran picking wickets with a new ball. Basically Josh Tongue and Jofra Archer, but then also in the middle phase you have someone like Rashid picking wickets, Sam Curran picking wickets. So they that's something they again outplayed India with the bowling as well. So it's been comprehensive this whole series, whether it's batting, bowling, fielding, tactically as well. I think another game where India was completely outplayed, even though it was a much better performance in terms of the batting performance, but the bowling, which has been decent, kind of let India down, and especially fielding has been quite abysmal right through this series. A turning point, there was a big turning point, to be fair, and it has got to do with fielding, and that was Prince Yadav's over, his first over. Harry Brook tries to pull him, gets a leading edge, difficult catch, right? Shivam Dube at short third runs back over his head, over his shoulder, and he completely misjudges it, doesn't get a hang to it. Again, it was a very, very difficult catch. Let me assure you, it was a very difficult catch. But had India got that wicket, had Shivam Dube got Harry Brook, he was batting on 3. Maybe, just maybe, could have been different, because after that they just kept on piling the runs. And it, like I said, it was difficult, and he went wrong. According to me, Shivam went wrong the first movement itself, because when the ball goes over your head, which way you turn is very, very important. For example, if the ball's over my right shoulder, if I turn left, straight away I've lost the ball, right? You can't take your eyes off the ball, because then I turn left and then I'm searching for it. And you can try this yourself. If you look upstairs, as in look up at the sky, and turning around, you go dizzy. So the catch was on the left and he turned towards his right. And when he turned towards his right, he found himself to be really far away. And England is windy, so you got to be spot on with those things. So the moment he turned the wrong way. I was like, nah, that's not going to happen. So yeah, that was for me the turning point, because yeah, Harry Brook was batting on 3, and India had just got the wicket of Phil Salt. Was Prince Yadav's first over itself. If he had picked up a wicket in the first over, things could have been different. We never know. They could have still got to 250, but then India would have had a better chance. This has been a series to forget. I mean, there's no two ways about it. England for the first time has won, whitewashed an opposition in a 2 or more game series. So, but even for India, I think there weren't too many positives either. You generally, even if you lose a series, you try and take a few positives to take it forward, but I don't think there were too many of them. Maybe Prince Yadav was one, even though he went for runs in this game, but otherwise I think he's somebody you want to invest in. Suryan Shetty, all these guys, yeah, there are, but then not too many to kind of remember that way, or individual knocks and all of that. Maybe a few here and there. But most importantly, what also told me in this series that, especially these conditions, India need to go back to the drawing board. And what do I mean going back to the drawing board is just look at the side that India had, or the template that India had for the last 4-5 years, where they've won almost everything, a couple of World Cups, Asia Cup and all of that in this format, and try and follow that template. And for example, what is it? You had batters who could control, like Virat, tricky pitches. You had power hitters who can play around. Let's say Rohit started it from the opening, and then you had people like Surya and all coming through into the back end as well. So that's something that India might want to look into, and especially on tracks where you're not going to get 200 to 50, right? On tracks where you're going to get 180, 190, or a little more challenging tracks. So you need batters who are multi-dimensional and not just one-dimensional, like only hitting the ball or hitting big shots. And that's something either you kind of build one of these batters to be like that, like an Abhishek or Suryavanshi, whoever it is, or Sanju for that matter, develop them into a multi-dimensional and that kind, or look at someone else, maybe someone like Shubman Gill, who can actually give you that kind of innings, build up and build an innings and all of that, and keep the innings together. That's one thing, the batting side of things, because when you look at this batting, it looks very one-dimensional. Apart from Shreyas, it just looks one-dimensional, like everyone comes out 4 sixes, big shots and all of that. So maybe that's something that India might want to go back to the drawing board and look at. The other thing is, middle overs. So Jasprit Bumrah is going to come back, and I'm sure Hardik will come back, but Harshit and all these guys, they're good bowlers, but middle phase, and I look at that middle phase, you need wicket takers, because especially when you're playing against teams like Australia or England, even South Africa, the only way to restrict the opposition is to pick wickets. And especially in the middle overs, if you look at the last few years, you had Varun Chakravarti and Kuldeep, genuine wicket takers, X factors in that middle phase. And that's where I think, maybe look at a few more options. Varun is getting injured. He's looked a little out of form for the last few months. Kuldeep, he's got a few years as well left in him. Work on him, make sure he's fit and he's ready to go. So yeah, keep those things in mind. And apart from that, if you want to give them breaks because you're also worrying about or thinking about the ODI format, especially with the World Cup a year from now, a little more than a year, maybe look at some other options who are those X factors, can pick wickets in those middle phases and not be defensive, be attacking options. So those things, I guess, is something that India needs to do after this series, is go back to the drawing board. I know, then you're going to go back and play on Indian surfaces. Again, you're going to get 200, 250s and all of that. But then I think it is important to remember this series, right? I know it's a forgettable series, you want to forget it, but the lessons are important to remember from this series. The other important thing is the fielding. And for me, and I think not just for me, for a lot of people, and Shreyas said that at the post-match as well, that fielding is very, very important. Fielding generally reflects or how you fielding reflects on the team confidence, and the team confidence reflects on the fielding. When a team is not fielding well and a good fielding side is not fielding well, which the Indian side is actually a good fielding side, but it hasn't fielded well or caught well, that is a reflection of the confidence, right? Because in fielding, if you're fielding well, I can understand if you're not a good fielding side, but if you're a good fielding side and not fielding well, that means your mind is not there. Your mind is clouded, right? So if you're fielding well, that means you're switched on, you're aware what's happening, who's the batter, who's the bowler, what other shots the batters are playing, what lengths the bowler is bowling. So you're switched on. But the moment a good fielding side is not fielding well, that just tells you that the minds are clouded, that they're not switched on. Maybe they're just preoccupied, maybe with themselves or their form or their confidence or whatever. So that is the other important thing that India needs to look into, how to kind of get better at fielding and not let other things affect fielding as such. Thank you for watching Super Over Decoded, powered by IDFC FIRST Bank.